Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my bathroom where most of the business gets taken care of. Now we're here today only because it is Friday and it's the beginning of a big collaboration between myself and my sons. And my sons, I mean Maxx, Chewning, Matty, Fusaro, Nick Wright, Bob from Olympus Iron, and who knows, there might even be some more special guests. But I'm here in my bathroom today. Just got off the phone with Matty. I think he's headed down, or headed up I should say, from New York. It's gonna be about a 3-hour drive for him to right here in beautiful Rhode Island, and I wanted to let him know that I actually got this room all set up for him. Look at this. I made a bed for him and everything. No one ever stays here. I don't know what's really going on with this color coordination. Printer, I haven't used that thing in years. PlayStation 3, no TV, a bottle of wine, some speakers, all sorts of stuff. You know what? I know what this room is missing. I will be right back. All right, so we got some tissue, some nice lotion, and a little reading material for him, just so he feels at home. It's also next to this scary carved skeleton and this dying bonsai tree. But you know what? I just remembered Matty's actually engaged, so he probably wouldn't appreciate that. He'd appreciate that a little bit better. Probably still needs some lotion and some tissues because Phil Heath goes in hard.
I don't see. All right, there you are. So just keep coming down. I'm the second to last house on the right. That's not me. All right, I'll see you.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. So I'm in the car. You can see my elusive roommate in the back who decided to put on his stunner shades because he's embarrassed to be on a YouTube video. But you guys probably recognize him. Anyone who's been following me long enough on the channel. Several years ago when I was doing dog crap training, he actually used to lift. But now you can question that. I'm also here with everyone's favorite, Matty Fusaro, of course, Fusaro Fitness. So we're actually outside of a place called Crazy Burger here in Narragansett. If you guys ever watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which I said without stuttering, which is pretty good for me considering it's really early in the morning. 8:30ish on a Saturday. We went out last night probably till about 12:30 or 1. Late for us old folks here. But we're going to this place called Crazy Burger, which is in Narragansett, and it's been on, see now I stuttered. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Triple D with Guy Fieri. But we're gonna go there, we're gonna grab some breakfast. It's gluten-free for some of our friends in the back. Hippie approved. And then Matty and I are gonna go meet up with Bob from Olympus Iron, Nick Wright, Maxx, Chewning, and I think one of Bob's friends. So it should be good. We're gonna deadlift and Nick's gonna max out. And then of course we'll just sit there and probably make fun of Max the whole time anyway, so it should be good. So we might get some film in the actual restaurant, I'm not sure. Maybe just some quality iPhone camera film, maybe Chris Jones potato-ish film, but we'll see. But either way, we'll see you in the gym afterwards, so let's get to it. Final parting words?
I got nothing.
Stay big. Stay big in the back. All right, guys. So we actually ended up eating outside because it was such a nice day out, so I didn't show you the inside. Just sitting here, showing you the place. They have some space heaters in case it's cold. Roommate Chris. Then I wanted to show you what I got. So I got some eggs, I got some home fries, and some cinnamon buns. There's Matty Fusaro, and I'm making a joke right now, saying you know you're with a YouTuber when all you do is record your food and you don't actually eat it. Showing you a little bit of what he got and just some of the hot sauces they have here. But again, this is a pre-workout meal, and we literally trained like 45 minutes later, so cinnamon buns was probably a bad choice on my part. Alright, so as I mentioned, epic collab today. The only problem is the way that everyone's schedule worked out was that today was actually everybody's off day, so we didn't actually want to lift, but we figured we should do some light lifting. So you see Nick Wright with 135, you see myself with 135, you see Bob Olympus Iron in the back doing some tricep extensions and all sorts of other stuff. Eventually you'll see Maxx Chewning as well. Again, just pulling 135, and that's all we really lifted for today because we didn't really want to overextend ourselves, and we just really wanted to enjoy each other's company. So here you see Maxx, as I said, 135. We also didn't want anyone's ego to get in the way, so we didn't want to go any heavier than this. This is something we can all do very easily. That way we all became the best of friends. Now Maxx right here is just talking about overextending because we were talking about locking out and why we do the things that we do, and he's kind of showing both versions here, not to overextend. But overall, it was a great time meeting them, had a lot of fun. So, as always, thanks for watching, and in the meantime, stay big. So of course we did more, and you guys are probably smart enough to figure out, based off the length of this video, we're actually in the gym for around 3 hours today, just mostly doing deadlifts. Now, because there was a lot of us working in on just this one platform, we also did a lot of talking and getting to know each other and just talking general strategies. And this is the first time I met Matty and Maxx in person, and I gotta say, they're really nice, down to earth, and really cool. And that being said, anytime you meet someone from the internet or YouTube the first time, it's always a little bit weird, especially when they're younger boys and I'm an older man. But as I do it more and more, I gotta tell you, it feels really, really natural. Here you see Maxx pulling some more weight. Now for this, I try to list the weight in almost every one of these clips. However, in some of the shots, it's tough for me to tell if there's 5s or 2.5s or 10s. So if you don't see a weight on the actual screen, it's only because I couldn't tell and I didn't want to guesstimate what it would be.
Now for me to be upset. I should be good because like my deadlifts now are just like stiff like this. I just bend my knees like this and I'm just like these all hands. You'll notice Brandon never does any. Brandon never does. Wow. He never does any deadlifts with the camera like behind him. I know my back is shit. Cause like look where I am, and like even though I've been here, my back's like whoop. So I'm not gonna be like this, get straight. And what happens is just squat the way all the time. Yeah. And then ends up hurting my back more. Look at that thing. You can't tell the difference probably.
So you just saw Maxx is giving me a hard time about never shooting or filming from behind, but let's be honest, Maxx is just a lot more familiar with doing it from behind. Here's just saw some pulls from Bob here. Now for today, Nick Wright, as I mentioned, was the only one who really planned to max. All of the rest of us were just gonna kind of see how it went. This is Bob's friend Jared. He came and trained with us. Really cool guy, really strong. He's still in college. He's using straps, but I don't really have a problem with that, and I'll talk about that more probably later on in the video.
To me, so I think I should start.
That's a strong double overhand. I feel so bloated right now. I get double overhand.
I know you're in. Yeah. Do you grab like the keys to hit him in the temple? Is that why he's like? Yeah. He is. You grab the bar. I mean, there's like. Have you grabbed it to the point where it's like? Yeah. Oh, okay. So like obviously you want to do it like this, and then you go like this. So like I just don't even think about it anymore. Yeah. I mean my old setup, like people want to see my deadlifts now. They're like, oh, you grip and rip when I'm like this, like, and I go. But like my old style is literally just like. You used to just drop that. I used to just like, like and grab it, and that's why sometimes I'd like halfway up, and you wouldn't notice it. Even though my grip's really good, I don't drop it. But like sometimes I grab it and I'd be like fingertipping the side, like. I gotcha. You're not gonna want to fingertip it too much, man. Alright, so we got to, yeah, we put the 4-5 back on.
So I wasn't really paying attention too much, but then for some reason Bob was wearing a ninja mask and he wanted to do his impression of Chelsea from Chelsea Lifts dancing, so he made me film this. So I'm sorry, Chelsea. I should probably apologize to everybody else, but one of the things you'll see during this video is I'll be cutting into just the actual commentary that was happening in the gym live, and I know it's a little bit hard to hear, but hopefully you guys can pick up on it, because one of the great things about training with all these guys, or boys, depending on if you look at their physiques or not, is that we all have a little bit different training styles, methodologies, and how we do certain things, and we're kind of trying to share a little bit of best practices. So just recently you saw Matty and Maxx talking about grip position, because Maxx has been gripping his hand a little bit, and then also people say he's a gripper or ripper and all sorts of things. So we're just kind of talking about different things, which was really fun to do. Now, speaking of Matty, I got to give him big props. First of all, he just flew in from California. He was out 2 days prior. doing some quest videos, and he came straight to Rhode Island from there, so he hadn't been home in several days. Not to mention, if you watch his channel, which of course you should watch all these guys' channels, he's been having some issues with his back where he's been told not to squat or deadlift, but he's recently been working it back in. So him jumping on board with us and working up to some heavy weights was really big of him, and he was doing phenomenally well. Now here he mentions his grip, and that'll come into play a little bit later as you see Maxx pull 495. So we're just working up, and again, we all have different strength levels here on the deadlift, but we're able to work in together, and it got to be pretty interesting. Here you see myself, I'm still using a double overhand, no belt grip up to around this weight. This is one of the ways that I really work on my grip strength. Here you see Nick Wright with 495, and in this circumstance, he doesn't get the pull. And again, for the Candido program that he's on, today was a supposed max day. Now for this, he is new to sumo deadlifting. He's gonna try again as well. And I'm not showing his fails to necessarily make fun of him, although that just happens just to be a benefit of showing these fails. But one of the things is I think a lot of people watch Nick's channel and they don't necessarily like him because they think he's very cocky. And I can understand where you're coming from on this. But as I just mentioned, a lot of the things that we did is we shared kind of common practices between each other. And Nick was really good not only about helping other people, but he probably asked more questions than anyone I've ever trained with because he's constantly trying to get better. So I know he asks me a lot of stuff. He talks to Johnny Candido a lot. And although he can come off a little bit cocky on his channel, and he's like that a little bit in person, love you, Nicky, he's still a really nice guy, and he really has a lot of good interests in his heart. So don't give him such a hard time. I know a lot of people say, oh, don't train with Nick Wright, but he's actually really fun to kind of train with. Not to mention he's strong, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to YouTube and marketing himself. He's really good at that. Here you see a pull from Maxx at 510. The deadlift, brah. Now it was my turn as Maxx wants to photobomb my video, apparently. This is actually my first working set, so I tried to stick to my BPSM. This was my first working set on dead stay. It called for 515 for a set of 3. This is also the first set that I used a supinated grip, and things went pretty well here. As you can tell, it's pretty smooth. I'm also rocking those Reebok CrossFit Light Low TRs, and I really like them a lot so far. Now moving on, we have Nick again trying to get back in here, and what I'm doing is, as I mentioned, telling him exactly how I like to set up for conventional. Now Nick was a conventional puller for a long time, but he switched to sumo recently. This is kind of what I'm talking about. We're just trying to share best practices and see what's best, and I'm talking about how depending on where you put the bar over your foot, you might have the tendency to go forward some. So again, just trying to get better all around. So here you see Matty's next set. This is 425. I believe this would tie his all-time PR. Now he is using straps, and one of the things I want to point out is the fact that every one of us, except for Matty, was telling him he should try some straps just because he's never done it before, and he was hesitant because he knows what kind of reputation using straps typically gets on deadlift. But one of the things you guys have to take into consideration is sometimes, in this instance, in my opinion, it's good to use straps. And what I mean by that is I think Matt has the actual strength to do this, but as you saw in one of his earlier sets, his grip gave out. So we said strap on some straps, it's a lot of straps in a sentence, and just give it a pull to see. And you can see this was really easy. So in my opinion, for Matty, one of the things he really needs to work on is his grip strength, because that's a real big limiting factor in his deadlift. Here you see Nick give this another shot of 500 pounds. He hitches pretty bad right here, which I think he honestly could have had it if he just grinded it out a bit, but he got his PR, so to say, for sumo, so he was happy. Here you see Maxx. Again, I'm not sure what this is. I want to say it's 515. Maxx gets really intense when he deadlifts. And that's another interesting thing you guys will be able to see from this video is all of our different styles. I am very kind of laid back. I would even say I don't even care in some instances, whereas Maxx gets really into it. But then again, that's why he's really strong pound for pound lifter. Speaking of different styles here, even though Bob is extremely pale, he has chalk on his face like war paint. He also goes to Slap City, and then he hits a PR. So again, difference in styles. As you see my next working set of 540, again, 3 reps. And it looks like I just don't even enjoy lifting because again, I'm pretty emotionless, and maybe that kind of goes in line, as many of you have said, that I have somewhat of a monotone and robotic voice, which is fine, but I get my weights here. Moving on, Matty again, going for another PR with straps. And again, just look at the speed at which he can pull this. So definitely he's got a lot more in him, but he's going to be careful just because of his back, which is completely understandable. Here you have Maxx, and I think this is where Maxx bows out, which is good for me to show you. Again, different angle, a little bit less weight. He's done. So Maxx tapped out, but I got to give him props too, coming to a new gym and really kind of trying to push himself after he kicked ass in his meet. I just like giving him a hard time, but as a present, I gave him a 10-pound bag of mass gainer because, let's be honest, he needs it. So Bob had already set 2 PRs. He wanted to go for a third, and 5:15 just did not happen for him, but that's all right. He still did a great job. Here you see the last set of deadlifts for the day for myself, 560 for 3, and I was pretty happy with this. It went really smooth, and it felt pretty good, and the weights moved fast, in my opinion. So hopefully I'm getting back on track after a couple of rough weeks. The last 2 have been going really well on BBSM, so I'm happy to say that.
I get the blood out of my face.
All right, group picture time.
So that wrapped up the training for the day. We then went and got lunch, which I believe you'll see on another channel's video. So be sure to check the links in the description box below, as all of us should be having our own clips and our own takes on the day's trainings. As always, thanks so much for watching, and in the meantime, stay big.